years old, too. I forget how long these songs have been around. Blink's going out next summer. They've set their 2024 dates. They're going to play Columbus. If you want to go down there, that's the closest they're going to come to us. With Pierce the Veil, fellow San Diego punk band. August 13th, so you got to wait almost a year to go see them, but they're going to do the
That's almost a year to the day.
Schottenstein Center? Is it Schottenstein or Stein?
That's about a year that they were, because I think they were in Cleveland like May 16th last year.
Yeah.
Or of this year, so.
Blink 182, the One More Time tour. I don't know if that's literal, but so if you want to go see them, you'll have to go to Columbus. But those,
I think that's in reference to their new album.
Is it called One More Time?
I believe so.
Oh, well, that shows you how much I know.
Is. You just go too deep with Blink. You know about Man Overboard, you don't know about their new stuff, like the old stuff.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I was talking to somebody at the Kiss show, and they go, "Hey, what do you think of that new Blink record?" I go, I don't know. I heard they were like, I like them when I hear them, but they were like never on my radar. Like I've never seen them live. I don't, But anyway, if you do like them and care about them, those tickets are going to go on sale this Friday, and then you'll wait until next August to go to Columbus and see them. So maybe they'll add a Cleveland date. There's plenty of time between then and now where they can figure out how they're feeling about things. Green Day has also announced that they're going on the road. I thought this was kind of a wild setup. The Smashing Pumpkins are going to open for Green Day next summer.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
But after seeing Smashing Pumpkins last year when they're at the Q or Romo Fijo, I can see why they're trying to piggyback along with somebody.
Well, that to me feels more like they're going for the demographic rather than the fans, because you couldn't get further away from two different kinds of bands than Green Day and the Smashing Pumpkins.
I think they have a lot of crossover.
You think so?
Yeah. I mean, just as a kid that grew up listening to both those bands, they were popular. Like the three most popular bands in my school at that time, it would be like Green Day, Smashing Pumpkins, maybe Nirvana's above that, but it seemed like Smashing Pumpkins was just as big, if not bigger, than Green Day.
Among the same kids?
Yeah.
Huh. They'll have Rancid open in a bunch of the dates.
That's great.
Linda Lindas are going to play too. Huh?
Brian has been talking about how bad he wants to go see Rancid.
Well, they're opening for Green Day and the Pumpkins.
That would be his leave after the opener scenario.
Yeah. They haven't announced the dates, but the next album from Green Day is coming soon. They will drop a brand new song tomorrow. You will probably hear it here. It's called The American Dream Is Killing Me. And these guys were doing some, they did that While We Were Young tour, I think, in Vegas over the weekend. And so he said, we're going out on the road next year with Smashing Pumpkins. When they were on the road, they went out with STP and Interpol. So anyway, that's what is on the immediate radar there. Well, the comments are coming fast and furious for Poundcake's imminent move to New York City to work for the Breakfast Club. And people are, again, nothing's in the bag.
He hasn't even applied yet.
It's a shoo-in. There's no way. Who else would they want on that show besides Poundcake?
Code Switch.
Code Switch.
Code Switch. I'm here for
So when Jake C said Kodiak Black.
Cody Act Black.
Kodak Black.
It's Kodak Black.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah. Well, Owen and Willoughby has got his thoughts, and you know he's always a ray of sunshine, Poundcake. Want to hear what he's got to say?
Yeah,
he's already firing shots. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's Owen. Listen, maybe I don't understand something about this. Hoping you can fill me in, Alan. Alan, you have the gumption, the tenacity, the drive to move to a city and starve for years for your career. Poundcake has no money. He's Cleveland poor. How is he going to New York on his own to do what? Work on another radio show? Nah.
What is Cleveland poor?
He's saying if he's poor
In
here,
Cleveland, what
he's
makes you
going to be
think
homeless there.
But
I see.
The salary for that show,
pays a hell of a lot more.
It pays a lot of money. He'll be
9 times
fine.
what he's making here.
9 times. I would say that the business is very, very different from when I got going, and there's no way around that. when I was getting going, you were always looking over your shoulder because you were looking for that next person who was going to be faster and funnier and smarter and better than you. And over the years, this company and others like it have fired so many people over the years that that's not really a thing anymore, right? There's not really a farm team, as it were. There's still kids in college who want to be on the radio. Thank God. My son is going to be on his college radio station.
Oh.
But as far as looking over your shoulder, and the further you get into your career, if you're fortunate enough to have some successes, you're less and less worried about that. Now, because those pools are so small, somebody like Poundcake is in a much better position to not have to grind it out like I did. The company will just come to him and go, hey, we think you'd be good for this. What say you? Now, because you're not looking over your shoulder as much, it's much more likely that they ain't going to pay you no $130, $340, whatever it is. Because they go, hey, I mean, that's how they did it even back in the day. When you would bump up a market, that was their excuse to pay you less. Which is counterintuitive. You go, well, I'm going to a bigger place, I'm needing more money. But they go, hey, you get bumped up. What you do then is up to you. We'll bring you here, but then you got to kill it. But again, situation like this, and you are very publicly happy being number two, you wouldn't have to grind it out.
I mean, the platform is so big. Not only are they big on the radio, like they have millions of listeners that way, but YouTube, they're huge. I mean, that's mainly how I listen to them. I'm not in my car most of the day, so I usually just get the clips on YouTube. And they're on BET, so they're on TV as well. So it's crazy. So, I mean, if they had to pay me, $87,000 a year, I might be okay with that.
What is the least you would go for?
$86,000 a year.
But don't say it publicly. Just tell me. Nobody's listening. Just tell me.
Whisper it.
$86,000 a year.
It might be, that
You
might
want to
be.
go for 80?
No, 86.
Well, but in a market like that, it's probably union. So there's union minimums. Like when I was in Chicago, the union minimum for the overnight person, I think, was like 85.
See?
So,
But he's also not the guy.
What do you mean?
The union minimum, that's for one person on the radio at a time. This is a panel show.
Right.
So
but what I'm
he's not
saying
gonna
is,
be making-
but if they're paying overnights in Chicago, and this was 15 years ago, 85, then the second guy on a morning show in New York, I mean, who knows? You know what? That's the wild thing now, is that all bets are off. Nobody knows what the hell anything is anymore.
Or what
Because
anybody's
there's no one at the
looking
wheel.
for,
There's So, don't know. Don't know.
But he ain't lying about the whole Cleveland poor thing. I've been saying that for a long time. I'm like, if I move to a different market, like any help that I get, I just will be screwed.
What do you mean screwed?
Because like I drive my brother's car. Like I can't take his car out of state.
You take public transportation. You go to New York.
But I'm not saying New York. But if I were to move anywhere else, like a lot of stuff.
Wichita.
Sure.
You take Wichita Rapid Transit.
Some of them might not.
You don't take the Dub RT?
No.
What about Toledo?
I could do it with Toledo. I could do it with Toledo.
Hell yeah.
What is their college transportation called? The
I don't know.
Nothing.
They don't have a college bus?
I don't know.
College bus?
What do you mean?
like
Mary went to UT. Ask
Yeah.
her.
that's why I was asking Mary, because at Akron we had the Roo. We would ride the Roo.
I'm sure
campus.
there was something. I mean, we
It's
were
the
the Rockets.
University of Toledo interchange.
It's probably like the Rocket Bus or something. I don't know.
There you go.
The
The
blue
Mud Hen,
line.
Shuttle
the
or
Mud Hen
something.
Express.
Just jump on the UTI. You'll be there in no time.
Dude, we used to ride the Roo all the time, drunk AF.
Yeah.
That was a good time. And our campus ain't even really that big. Like
The Rue, RUE? Like
ROO.
street? Oh, ROO.
Because it was Zippy the Kangaroo. That was our mascot.
And boy, that's a deep dive. And the rapid transit was called the Rue?
I think it may be the Roo Express, but we called it the Roo.
Ah.
But yeah.
So not like a deep and flavorful sauce like Mary had in New Orleans. Not that kind of Rue.
No.
Food down there was so good.
And you did some swamping too, didn't you?
Oh my God. We went on a fan boat tour, which I was so nervous about. Like, so nervous because I'm like, dude, you are in the friggin' swamp with these gators. Like, and Brian was so gung ho about it. He's like, yeah, we gotta do it. And it was cool, dude. It was, first of all, beautiful. You don't think of a swamp as like really pretty, but it was like picturesque.
Speak for yourself, Mary.
I'm just saying. You think of swamps, you think of mucky, dirty, scary, like horror movie swamps. But it was like gorgeous.
It's like grasslands.
Yeah. And we were like, you're going through, and our guide's name was Shane, and he's just this hillbilly guy. He's going through.
Cajun.
Yeah.
I'd be so mad if I got on one of those and it wasn't a hillbilly guy.
Oh, yeah.
It was just some guy named Trent. He's like, hey, welcome to the fan boat. I'd be like, what? No, you're not driving this thing.
Yeah, the airboat.
He's trying to make conversation. He's like, I've been down here for about 18 months. I really like it.
Yeah, right. No, this guy was like, my family's full blood Cajun. I know I don't sound that Cajun. And like, you barely understand him. I'm like, dude, you sound pretty Cajun.
Because everybody down there sounds like him, so they don't notice it.
So there was at one point, they kind of drive you out and tell you just different facts about, the land where you are and the water and blah, blah. At one point, we're like going down this tight little channel, and he docks the boat, and 3 raccoons run up onto the boat. And they're like standing there, and they are so friggin' cute. And we're like, what is this? He goes, yeah, they think they're going to get a snack, blah, blah, blah. And then as we're paying attention to the raccoons, up on either side of the boat comes 2 gators. And they're just hanging out next to the boat. And we're like, dude,
How many people are on your boat?
4.
Okay,
so we booked,
okay.
me and Brian and 2 other ladies.
Yep.
We booked the premium experience.
Where were they from?
Well, they went to school in New Orleans, and they were older. It was like their 25-year anniversary or something like that. So they were back in town and doing a swamp boat tour. So these 2 gators come up on either side, and he's like, yeah, the company has owned this portion of the swamp for years. So they're very used to the boats. And he goes, and they want their swamp crack like that. And we were like, what? And I guess they feed them marshmallows, and they call them swamp crack because the gators love them so much.
Big marshmallows or tiny ones?
The big ones, like
s'more ones.
Yes, ones you would use on s'mores. And the gators knew. They knew exactly, like when the boat was still, they'd come straight, like within seconds of the boat being still, or like not docked, but like just kind of not, the fan not going. There were gators all around you. And we get to this one, and we're like, we drove past it. And we pointed out, we're like, oh my God, that thing is huge. This was probably like a 9.5, 10-foot gator. This thing was giant, okay? And Shane taught us that from the tip of the gator's nose to where their eyes are, however many inches that is correlates to how many foot the gator is. So if it's 6 inches from the gator's nose to his eyes, that's a 6-foot gator.
But you got to do that by sight.
Just kind of, eyeball it, right? Yeah. So this one is huge. Dude, I'm telling you, this thing's head was a foot long. It was giant. And so he gets closer, and Shane does like a U-turn to take us back to this giant gator. He starts telling us this story about how this is One-Eyed Willie. This gator has one eye. And he's like, yeah, this One-Eyed Willie, he got in a fight. And I go, was it with Chubbs? And nobody laughed at my
Happy Gilmore.
From Happy Gilmore
joke, yeah. And that's a small pool. Brian was like, I thought it was funny, babe. Good job. But like we pull up, and he tells us this story about how One-Eyed Willie is how they know they have gators hold a vendetta, because he got in a fight with another gator. Gator took his eye, and then Willie waited it out until he healed for over a year, and then went back and bit off the gator's leg and let him bleed out to death.
Imagine that. Why wouldn't he bleed? I wonder. Yeah.
Don't know if it's.
How do you lose an eye? And
yeah, I don't know if it's a true story or not. But he's like, yeah, they definitely do that. So
those gators are on the payroll, probably, right?
Dude, this friggin' hillbilly pulls a marshmallow out, puts it in the water with his hand in the water, knocking on the side of the boat, splashing the marshmallow around, and then the gator comes up, and I'll post a picture on my Instagram story. I sent it to you guys. This thing opens its mouth, and he just puts his hand in the mouth and drops the marshmallow in, and then starts petting this 9-foot gator's head. We're like it's a cat or a dog that he's giving a treat to. And he's like, yeah, good boy,
put on
Willie.
a show. He's like, that's...
But that's crazy. This is an alligator.
He is... But again, if you go on a airboat tour of gators, and you're with a guy that's like, I'm actually really scared of these alligators, that's not the guy you want to be with. You want to be with the guy that is petting the gator and treating it like it's a cat.
Dude, it was just insane to me. Like he's touching it on its head. At one point, One-Eyed Willie, he takes his snout and smashes it into the side of the boat. And Shane was like, oh, okay, he's not, he must be kind of having a bad day or whatever. And then he goes to pet him and he like didn't snap, but like jerked his head real fast. I'm like, this dude's about to lose an arm. Like this guy is about to get his whole arm bitten off by this. You
want the danger. You want the danger.
But how could it be part of the show? It's an alligator.
But that's the thing is, Shane knows there's a chance that he could get his arm bit off. But he knows the game is make these city people think that nothing can scare him.
I don't know.
Well, but also, I mean, when you're living down there, I'm sure they know how far to push. I'm sure they know kind of what the local ecology is and all that. So, a guy like that, he's probably working with them all day long, right?
Well, they do 3
out there in the
tours
swamps. And these guys know what they're doing. I mean, that's their environment.
Yeah, he's
been doing his whole life.
That's what he said. He's like, I've been driving a boat. I was driving boats before I could ride a bike.
All his hands, all his fingers.
He had all his fingers and all his hands.
Yeah, so
all of it. He had all of his hands.
But it was wild to see this guy just fully petting an alligator, and the alligator opens its mouth, and I'm like, do they ever jump up on the boat? And he goes, yeah, it's happened before. I'm like it's totally nothing to him.
I think that's his job.
I think any animal you're feeding on the regular is. We stopped at the Cincinnati Zoo on the way down to Louisville because my daughter wanted to see Fiona, who is the
hippo.
The hippo. That's right. And so we go, and we got there at just the right time where we're talking to one of the caretaker, whatever they're called, and I said, she goes, I'm getting ready to feed these hippos. She goes up there. She's putting the hippo is the deadliest animal on the planet. She's putting her arm in their mouth to feed them. They're coming up, opening their mouths because they know what side their bread is buttered, right? So she's like petting their tongue. And so it's probably, alligators obviously look more deadly, I guess, but hippos are more deadly.
Well, that's
this guy knows, this guy knows what he's doing. There's still an element of danger, though.
That's a fact that he told us, that the
still
only
a wild
animal that has more like pressure per pound or pounds, whatever, of their jaw is a hippo.
Yeah.
That the second one is a gator. Those are the only
deadliest animal on the planet. Yep.
And but he was saying that they don't feed them meat because then the gators become aggressive and dependent. If you start feeding them like stuff they actually eat, that you feed them marshmallows because gators don't have a pancreas. So their body
that pacifies them a little bit.
Well, no, their body. He says it takes like under a minute for their body to dissolve a marshmallow, and it doesn't affect them. The sugar doesn't affect them because they don't have a pancreas. So it's not like it's going to give them diabetes or anything like that.
So interesting.
I got the diabetic gators out here.
Seriously.
Yeah, but if he calls it swamp crack, I mean,
because they know.
Yeah.
What are you saying, Cody?
I didn't realize that an animal could have a palate for like a marshmallow, especially like a gator. I didn't think they would like something like that.
Well, and that's
sugar, right?
That's what he was saying. He's like, it still tastes good. It's still sugar. They're gonna like it, but it's not gonna hurt them. And he was saying that that's why they don't feed them, though, because they can become super aggressive when they become dependent on food. And you pull up and stop the boat instead of them being super calm and coming up knowing they're going to get a little swamp crack treat. If they think you're going to have chicken and you don't have chicken, they can start to get really pissed. And
you've trained them.
This one,
they're not finding marshmallows in the wild,
right? Well, this one, One-Eyed Willie, even at one point, like I said, he like knocked his snout against the door, and then he like did a hiss noise, like how the gators do those hiss noises. And Shane pulled his foot up like he was gonna kick him in the head, and he like had his foot.
Man, get
yes,
off.
he had his foot like over the side of the boat, and then he was like, "All right, we're gonna leave him alone for the rest of the day." I was like, "Dude,
One-Eyed Willie like the Goonies."
Insane.
But that's his whole life is just being around gators. So
yeah, I know, but still,
those gators making noises. Poundcake, what would that sound like? He's starting to deviate from the, yeah. He's broadening his palate now that he knows that this Breakfast Club gig is on his radar. Now he's broadening his palate.
more
but also when it's
Wasn't
animals.
gonna do it for me. He'll do it for Charlemagne.
With animals, though, he's always had a different. Those are different sound effects, the horse, the goat, and everything like that. So his
horse is still
gator
unparalleled.
is like a sick Donald Duck.
Mm-hmm. Where's his wolf howl? Mm-hmm. And his wail? Oh, God. I carve my ears off my head. I forget about it every time. I forget it's going to be that bad. Hey, I've got to take a break. If you want to send me a text, 35192, I will have another $1,000 for you. Those keywords about 30 past every hour. So 4:30, another $1,000. After the break, I will have Cavs tickets for you. Want to go see the boys play the Golden State Warriors on the 5th. That's a week from Sunday at the Romo Fijo. So we'll hand those off coming back.
It's the Alan Cox Show. Everywhere on our free iHeartRadio app or whatever smart device you have.
Just tell me to play the Alan Cox Show on iHeartRadio.
Now you can relive the greatest moments from our 2023 iHeartRadio Music Festival.
Streaming only on Hulu.
Lenny Kravitz kicks things off with his biggest hits.
Foo Fighters get the whole crowd singing along.
Travis Scott brings the heat with an explosive performance.
TLC pay a heartwarming tribute to Lisa Left Eye Lopez.
Kane Brown brings out surprise guest Khalid.
Kelly Clarkson lights up the arena with new music.
Jared Leto